Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going to jump straight into the strategic thinking behind Mobile Legends. Bang bang.
Yeah, it's a surprisingly deep game when you get into it.
Totally. And our mission today, it's really to unpack the secrets of counterpicking in solo ranked. We want to give you the tools, to get that edge, maybe even dominate and really climb those ranks. We get this great guide covering it all, and we're going to pull out the most important bits for you. So yeah, let's get into it.
Sounds good. And what's really interesting, I think, is how these game strategies like counterpicking, mirror decision-making elsewhere, fast-paced, high-stakes stuff. But first things first, to even think about counterpicking, you absolutely need to understand the foundation, which is, the current meta.
The meta. Yeah. Right. Every gamer hears that term.
But maybe for folks who are newer to thinking strategically, what exactly is the meta in Mobile Legends right now, like June 2025? And how fast do players actually, latch onto these changes? Or do old strategies sometimes stick around longer than you'd think?
Yeah.
That's a really good point, actually, because how fast people adapt is part of the game itself. So the meta, it's basically just the most effective stuff right now. The heroes, the team setups, the strategies that win most often.
Okay.
And yeah, as of June 2025, it's all heavily shaped by patch 1.7.50. That patch dropped. It also tweaked existing roles. Tanks got a big boost in sustain, making them much harder to take down.
Oh, okay.
And adaptation speed. Well, initially it's chaos. Everyone's trying things out. But the top players figure out what's strong pretty quick, and that kind of filters down. The meta usually settles faster than you might expect.
So new heroes, balance changes. It totally redraws the map. Who are the must-know heroes right now, the ones defining this meta?
Good question. You're definitely seeing a lot of Aether, Ling, and Benedetta. They're picked or banned in, a lot of high-ranked games.
Yep.
Aether has this really unique high-burst potential. Ling, everyone knows Ling. Crazy mobility, crazy damage. And Benedetta is just slippery, loads of dashes, good burst too.
So they dominate certain aspects of the game.
Pretty much. They might be strong early or late,
Yeah.
or just really good at their specific job. Their weaknesses, though, usually it's specific types of crowd control, or maybe getting bursted down themselves before they can react.
Okay. And what about team strategies? Are there common lineups people are running?
Yeah, we're seeing a couple of main trends. One is the double mage setup.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, often pairing Aether with someone like Kagura. The idea is just maximum magic burst from different places. Makes it really tough to survive team fights.
Oof, sounds nasty.
It can be.
Yeah.
Then there's still the hyper carry strategy. That's not new, but it's still strong. Think Ling or maybe Guinevere. If they get farmed up, they can just take over the late game.
Gotcha. So understanding that baseline, who's strong, what comps are popular, that's step one.
Absolutely fundamental.
So how do we use that? How do we turn knowing the meta into actually, winning more? This is where the counterpicking comes in, right?
Exactly. This is where you translate that knowledge into a real advantage. Counterpicking. It's not just picking a hero who's generally strong. It's picking a hero specifically to shut down what your opponent wants to do.
Okay.
Exploiting their weaknesses, negating their strength. It gives you a leg up right from the draft phase in rank. You're basically starting the match ahead. And the real secret, especially in solo queue, it's not just knowing A counters B, it's trying to predict what your opponents tend to pick, or maybe even baiting them into picking something you want them to pick because you have the perfect answer ready, using those patch note interactions.
Whoa, okay. That's like playing mind games before the minions even spawn. Can you give us some solid examples? Ling. He's always a menace.
Yeah, Ling's tricky. High damage, flies all over the place. So you want heroes who can either burst him down instantly, like Guinevere. If she lands her jump combo, he just disappears. Or heroes who can actually keep up with his mobility. Someone like Hayabusa can chase him down, duel him, prevent him from just zipping away after getting a kill.
That aha moment, right?
Yep.
Seeing how one hero just fundamentally messes up another's plan. But is there a danger of focusing too much on the counter? Like, what if you pick the perfect counter, but you're just bad at that hero? Especially in solo queue where you can't rely on teamwork.
That is a super important question. Because yes, absolutely. Well, a hard counter looks great on paper. Sometimes a soft counter, a hero who does reasonably well against the enemy pick and that you're actually really comfortable and skilled with, might be the better choice. Especially in solo queue. You might even trick the enemy into thinking they have an okay matchup, but your personal skill just outweighs the theoretical counter. But whichever counter you pick, hard or soft, you have to think about how it fits with your own team. Synergy is key.
Right, not just countering one enemy hero.
Exactly. And again, think about the latest patch. For instance, that recent buff to Aether's ultimate. It actually makes him a pretty decent counter now to someone like Vale, specifically Vale's ultimate. If Vale tries to pop his big area damage, Aether's updated kit can potentially shut that down or mitigate it heavily.
Interesting. So patch changes create new counter opportunities.
All the time. And this all feeds into the bigger picture team composition. You need balance.
Yeah.
Usually that means having a tank, a mage, a fighter, maybe an assassin or marksman, depending on the strategy.
Standard rules.
Yeah, because a balanced team gives you the tools to counter popular enemy strategies, like that double mage combo we talked about. If they go heavy on magic damage, but maybe lack a strong front line, you can counter with a dive assassin or a fighter who can get into their backline and disrupt them.
Makes sense. Exploit their comp's weakness.
And then you press that advantage all game. If you picked Aether specifically to counter, say, an enemy Hayabusa, you actively look for opportunities in team fights to use your ultimate defensively when Hayabusa dives your backline. Protect your squishies, turn his aggression against him.
So it's really about seeing the whole board, individual matchups, team synergy, how the patch affects it all. It's definitely holistic.
Okay, so how does this look in the middle of a chaotic game? Can we, walk through applying this stuff?
Let's try. Okay, imagine you're facing that Aether. You pick Franco as the counter. Your main job in team fights, besides looking for general hooks, is to save your ultimate, your suppress, specifically for when Aether tries to use his ultimate.
The moment you see Aether channel his big ability, you hook or suppress him immediately. Interrupt it. Deny his burst damage. You're not just countering a skill, you're potentially saving your team and neutralizing their biggest damage threat. That creates space for your team to win the fight.
Gotcha. Be ready for that key moment.
Exactly. And some other practical tips. Always look at the enemy's whole draft, not just one hero. Maybe they picked Aether, but the rest of their team is really vulnerable to poke. Your perfect Aether counter might not fit if your team already has too much dive,
Right, adapt to the overall situation.
Yeah, and consider things like their jungler. Is it an aggressive early game jungler like Ling? Maybe you need a counter pick that can help defend your own jungle buffs early or even invade theirs. And always check recent patch notes for subtle changes. Maybe a jungle route changed slightly or a specific item interaction got tweaked. That stuff matters.
It seems like small edges add up.
They really do, because successful counter picks often lead to what we call a snowball effect. You win your lane because of the matchup advantage, you get kills, you get gold, you get objectives faster. That early lead just grows and grows, making it much harder for the enemy team to come back. I mean, I've definitely had games where I had to force myself to play a hero I didn't love. Just because it was the right counter, it wasn't always fun learning them. But man, getting that early dominance because of the pick, it often seals the win.
That's a powerful demonstration of how strategy translates directly into results, and it really drives home the practical value. So for listeners who are thinking, okay, I get it, I want to master this, what's the next step? How do you keep improving? Because the meta is always changing, right?
It never stops changing. That's the challenge and the fun of it. Mastering counterpicking, it's definitely a skill. It takes practice. It takes discipline. The main things to remember are always analyze the current meta. Really try to understand why certain heroes counter others, and crucially, be willing to adapt. Step outside your comfort zone sometimes. And I seriously recommend watching your own replays. Don't just look at the wins and losses, but actively analyze. Okay, an experiment. Try different counters in different situations. Since the meta shifts with every patch, your understanding has to shift too. You got to keep refining your strategies.
Where can people go to, keep learning this stuff?
Oh, there are tons of great resources. Dedicated Mobile Legends websites, forums like Reddit communities, Discord servers, YouTube channels, Twitch streams. Lots of creators break down the meta, analyze high-level play, discuss specific counters, and dissect patch notes. You just gotta seek it out. It's a continuous learning curve, like a strategic arms race almost.
It really sounds like it. Well, this has been a fantastic deep dive. It's clear that counter-picking in Mobile Legends is way more than just knowing who B2. It's strategic chess before the game even starts.
It really is. And maybe stepping back for just a second, this whole process, right? Rapidly taking in new info, like patch notes, figuring out complex interactions, adapting your plan on the fly, that skill set. It's not just about winning a game. It's really about mastering the art of continuous learning itself, useful anywhere things change fast. So maybe the final thought is, what other metas are out there in your life just waiting for you to analyze them and, counterpick your way to success?
Wow, that's a great thought to leave us with. Brilliant stuff. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. And for everyone listening, go forth, analyze, adapt, and get those wins.